الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. So as we continue discussing the book Bulugh al-Maram by Hafiz Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahimahullah, and we're still discussing matters relating to Kitab al-Tahara, and in specific Bab Nawaqil al-Wudu, so discussing matters relating to acts or things that nullifies one wudu. So Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he'll now mention the 10th hadith in this collection of hadith that discuss this topic regarding things that are mentioned as things that nullifies one wudu. So we'll read the hadith that is mentioned here, which is the 10th hadith, and then we'll go on to discuss the ahkam that relates to this particular hadith. Tafaddal.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. Hadith 71, narrated Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Whoever washes a dead person should take a bath thereafter, and whoever carries it should perform ablution." Reported by Ahmed and Nisa'i and At-Tirmidhi, who graded it Hassan. Ahmed said there was no authentic hadith in this chapter.
So this is the hadith that has been mentioned as the 10th hadith regarding a matter that relates to Nawaqil al-Wudu. So the hadith that has been mentioned, and Abi Hurayrata radiyallahu anhu قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من غسل ميتا فليغتسل ومن حمله فليتوضأ. So he mentioned the hadith that had been read, that the one who washes a deceased, a dead person, then they should take a bath, and the one who carries the dead person, then they should perform wudu. Then he mentioned أخرجه أحمد والنسائي والترمذي وحسنه. Then also he mentioned, as for the source of the hadith, as for the sources that have been mentioned, or those who collected the hadith, Ahmed, second Nasa'i, third At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah. Then he mentioned that At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah all the hadith to be Hasan. Then he mentioned that then also he added by stated قال أحمد. Then Imam Ahmad rahimahullah had stated لا يصح في هذا باب شيء. There's nothing that have been authenticated related to this regarding hadith, regarding this particular topic. So that's the hadith that has been mentioned here by Ibn Hajar rahimahullah in this book Bulugh al-Maram. Then as for the first thing, as we'll normally discuss regarding first matters regarding the Rawi. So as we have mentioned before, this particular Rawi was Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. So we have spoken about Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, so there is no need to repeat. Second of the things that regarding this hadith that he mentioned, as for the takhrij. So the takhrij of the hadith, or as well hadith, that Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he state here, the hadith in the Ahmed, Nasahi, Tirmidhi. So as for the sources regarding this particular hadith, this hadith has been mentioned by many sources. So of those sources regarding the source of the hadith in the Ahmed, as mentioned by Ibn Hajar, also the hadith in the Abu Dawud. So also the hadith in the Abu Dawud, the hadith in the At-Tirmidhi, also the hadith and hadith in the Ibn Majah, but not with the full length of the hadith, as the first portion of hadith is mentioned with Ibn Majah. Then also the hadith in the Al-Bayhaqi, also the hadith in the Ad-Daraqutni, Ibn Hibban, Tabarani, Ibn Abi Shayba, and others. So the hadith is found also Ibn Hazm rahimahullah in his book Al-Muhalla also mentioned the hadith. So the hadith, they have many sources. Of those sources, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, as we had mentioned, Abu Dawud. Also the hadith is collected by Ibn Majah, but not with a full length, as mentioned. Also the hadith in the At-Tirmidhi, also the hadith in the Al-Bayhaqi, wa Daraqutni, also Ibn Hibban, and others. So the hadith have many sources regarding the source of the hadith that we mentioned. Just a point that they have also the ulama have mentioned regarding this hadith, when Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he mentioned أخرجه Ahmed. That's the case. Also, then he mentioned second, Nasa'i. So as for An-Nasa'i, that they have mentioned that this hadith is not found in An-Nasa'i. So An-Nasa'i in his book, As-Sunan Al-Sughra, that hadith is not found in that particular book, as stated by many of those who have explained this hadith. So as regarding the hadith, of the source of this hadith is the hadith in the Nasa'i, then that many of them mentioned, that's not of course, even to the extent that in the book of Al-Mizzi, Tuhfat al-Ashraf, that he doesn't mention this hadith, or does not reference this hadith back to An-Nasa'i. So when Mizzi rahimahullah, that discuss, give references for hadith that are found in Kutub Sitta, that he did not, when he mentioned this hadith, he did not reference this hadith back to An-Nasa'i. So they mentioned as a wahm or a khata, that is an error from Ibn Hajj rahimahullah. So rightfully for a person in the book, remember the hadith not found in An-Nasa'i, the hadith not found in Nasa'i, and that's an. Then also they mentioned At-Tirmidhi. Then he mentioned also the hadith is found with Tirmidhi rahimahullah. So At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah, when he mentioned this hadith in his collection, in his Al-Jama', that he mentioned Bab ma jaha fi ghusl man min ghusli al-mayt. Then he mentioned this hadith. But as for the wording of the hadith, he mentioned An Abi Hurayrata radhiyallahu anhu, an Nabi alayhi salam قال min ghuslihi أو min ghuslihi al-ghusl ومن ومن حمله وضوء. So the word that he mentioned is somewhat different. So the meaning is somewhat similar, but the wording mentioned by At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah is somewhat different from the narration that is mentioned here. So the hadith here is more the narration of Ahmed, but al-hadith again not in Nasa'i, and that's for At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah, that the wording that he mentioned is somewhat different from what is mentioned here. But overall, regarding concern the hadith, that this hadith is found in the source that we have mentioned. Then the next discussion regarding this hadith is regarding the aqwal. So that's concerning al-azu, mention the source of the hadith. The next matter is regarding what is the discussion or what have been stated by the ulama in relation to this particular hadith. So what have been said by the ulama regarding this particular hadith by way of its hukum. They mention regarding concerning that as for this particular hadith, that is a khilaf between the ulama on this hadith. Is a khilaf between the ulama regarding this particular hadith. So there's a khilaf between the ulama on this hadith. We find that there's aqwal regarding this particular hadith. Even At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah also has stated this, where he mentioned that there's a khilaf between the ulama regarding those who hold the hadith to be a statement of the Prophet alayhi salam, and also those who mentioned the hadith that is actually a statement of Abu Hurairah. So if a khilaf, when I mentioned concerning the hadith, the khilaf between the ulama regarding al-raf, that this particular hadith, it goes back to the Prophet alayhi salam. Is that the case? Or is a statement of the Sahabi Abu Hurairah? So you have a khilaf between ulama. They said a difference between al-raf and al-waqf. Is it a statement of the Prophet alayhi salam, or is it actually a statement of the Sahabi? So a khilaf between ulama on this matter. So there's a lengthy discussion on this matter. So of the ulama, those who hold hadith to be marfu' and also authenticate a hadith, and those who hold hadith to be not authentic, going back to the Prophet ﷺ, but rather it's a authentic statement going back to Abu Hurairah. So as for the discussion, you have of the ulama, those who hold hadith to be da'if. Of those who authenticate, so first those who authenticate the hadith, we have amongst those who authenticate the hadith, that they mention of those, and all the hadith to be, and they mentioned At-Tirmidhi, or hadith to be Hasan. Ibn Hazm authenticate the statement. Al-Baghawi in his book Sharh as-Sunnah. Al-Dhahabi, Ibn Mulaqin, Ibn Daqiq al-Eid, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, and also of contemporaries Shaykh al-Albani. So of those who authenticate this hadith as a statement of the Prophet ﷺ, that amongst them At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah, Ibn Hibban, Ibn Hazm, Baghawi, Dhahabi, Ibn Mulaqin, Ibn Daqiq al-Eid, also Ibn Hajar, and also of contemporaries Shaykh al-Albani alayhim rahmatullah tabarak ta'ala jami'an. So that's concerning of the first group, and the whole hadith to be authentic going back to the Prophet alayhi salam. Then the second view of the ulama is of those who hold the hadith to be da'if. The second position of the ulama is that those who take the hadith to be da'if. So they mention regarding concerning that those who hold the hadith to be da'if. One, Imam al-Bukhari hold the hadith to be da'if, as mentioned by At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah. Regarding At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah mentioned Imam Bukhari hold the hadith to be da'if. As he mentioned, قد نقل so you have old Bukhari rahimahullah. Also, where Bukhari said, in Ahmad ibn Hanbal wa Ali ibn Madini, qala, that Ahmad ibn Hanbal and Ali ibn Madini, that both have said, la yusah min hadha bab shay, nothing in this regarding these hadith on this topic that they are authentic, and that's the position taken by Al-Bukhari. Also those who are hadith to be da'if, So of those hadith to be da'if, al-Bukhari, also Abu Hatim, al-Razi, al-Rafi'i, al-Bayhaqi, al-Darakutni, also Ali ibn Medini, al-Dhuhli, ibn Munzir, ibn Qattan, al-Fasi, al-Nawawi. So those of the ulama who all the hadith to be da'if, all of the ulama who all this hadith to be da'if. And now Allahu Alam that Sheikh Arnaud in Sunan Abu Dawud, all the hadith to be the hadith to be da'if. So that's concerned aqwal of the ulama regarding those who are more inclined toward the hadith being authentic and those who take the position that the hadith it is da'if. So you have that discussion between the ulama. And they have mentioned regarding concerning that of the reason why, so the reason why those who take the position the hadith is da'if. So those who are all the hadith to be marfu', as they mentioned regarding concerning that in the isnad, Abu Shayba, that he mentioned the hadith marfu', while others who are of his others who are with him, those who also narrated with him, amongst them Mansur ibn Salama wa Ma'ala ibn Mansur, that they narrated the hadith as being mawquf. So you have those narrators who narrate the hadith of those Abu Shayba narrate the hadith as being marfu', going back to the Prophet ﷺ, and others of his contemporaries are those of his tawaqat, those that follows him and that narration in line with him, that they narrate a hadith as being mawquf. So he contradict others, most others all the hadith to be a statement of Abu Hurairah anhu, while Abu Shayba all the hadith to be going back to the Prophet ﷺ. So you have that difference between on this matter. Sorry, that's concerning the next hadith. So that's the next hadith. So you have that. So that's the next hadith. So but of those who all hadith to be da'if and those who all hadith to be authentic. So also second, the next matter is that the hadith have shawahid. So they refer to as shawahid. So when we're discussing concerning, so you have a hadith also that have other narrations of this hadith going back to the Prophet ﷺ from other Sahaba. So they mention as shawahid, the word, the terminology in today that has become more popular. The word shawahid or shahid is used by the ulama of hadith regarding that as become more popular, that hadith of other narrations in this hadith narrated by this particular Sahabi who's Abu Hurairah, but you have other Sahaba who have narrated this hadith. They refer to it more popular today as shawahid. So they mention as shawahid that other Sahaba who have narrated this hadith. So of those who have narrated this hadith other than Abu Hurairah, we have Aisha Mu'mineen, we have Ali ibn Abi Talib, and also Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah. So those three other Sahaba also have narrated hadith similar to this, that hadith of Abu Hurairah ta'ala anhum ajma'in. But all those hadith are criticized. Most of those hadith, they are somewhat criticized regarding concerning the hadith of Aisha, that in the Abu Dawood, Ibn Khuzaymah, al hadith that Abu Dawood al hadith somewhat to be da'if. The second narration of this, the other shahid of this hadith, that of Ali ibn Abi Talib, with regarding concern as mentioned that when his father, so that's meaning of that hadith, or the meaning of that hadith. And also the third being the hadith of Mughira ibn Shu'bah, where he mentioned man ghassala mayt falyaqtasil, man ghassal mayt falyaqtasil, the one who have washed the deceased, then he should perform ghusl. That hadith in Ahmed, this hadith is somewhat very straight and direct regarding his hukum, but of the ulama, some all hadith to be da'if, and others somewhat authenticate this narration regarding man ghassal mayt falyaqtasil. So overall, that you have these narration regarding concerning this hadith, that they are on the discussion. So to the extent that you find that of the ulama, that you have Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Ali ibn Medini, also Ibn Munzir, that they have taken the position that all the hadith revolve relating to this topic, that they are all weak. So all the hadith that discusses regarding one who carries the mate, the deceased, or wash him, should take a bath or perform wudu. They're all the hadith that they are criticized, and they are all weak. So that's concerning the overall judgment of the ulama of hadith. Wallahu alam, that of the ulama of the past regarding concerning the a'immat al-kibar, such as Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Ali ibn Madini, Ibn Qattan, Bukhari, Abu Hatim, and Al-Bayhaqi, and the likes on the hadith to be daif, then that also, that their view is a very strong position of the ulama, a very strong position, to the extent that, so that's concerning that particular matter. So of the general ruling on the hadith, that the hadith is daif, as the view taken by majority of the ulama al-kibar of the past. To the extent that so you find that even in the explanation of Tawdi al-Ahkam min Bulugh al-Maram by Sheikh al-Bassam, that in discussing the hadith that kind of somewhat he mentioned, Rajja Akthar A'imma al-Waqfu, that majority of the ulama, that of the A'imma, that they are more inclined toward the hadith being mawquf. Then I mentioned Hasana Katharat, then of the ulama all that it is authentic by as many narration, but most of those narrations are there on the discussion. All of those narrations of the hadith or turuq, ways of the hadith, that they are all criticized. Then I mentioned that Al-Bayhaqi wal Bukhari, Ibn Abi Hatim, Al-Rafi'i, and the likes, that they all that what is the correct position of the hadith, it is daif, weak, going back to the Prophet of Islam, but that what is more correct, that the hadith is a statement of Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu. Then also he mentioned state of Ahmad. Then he mentioned so if I mean, if the Dhahbi Rahimah mentioned, قال أحمد لا عالم فيهم حديث ثابت, regarding concern on this matter and the statement of that nature. Then also he mentioned those of authentic hadith. He mentioned At-Tirmidhi, Dhahabi, Ibn Hibban, Ibn Qattan. He also mentioned Ibn Hazm, Ibn Daqiq al-Eid, Albani, and so that's concerning aqwal of the ulama on this matter. Then he mentioned that the narration of Aisha in the Abu Dawood, that is similar to this hadith, that fihi Musab ibn Shayba, where the ulama of all that the narrator is daif, of them Ahmad al-Hanbal, Abu Zur'a, Bukhari, and the likes who have all this hadith to be daif. So that's concerning that matter of the regarding the discussion regarding the hukum on the hadith. So the hukum on the hadith, that a'immat al-kibar of the ulama of the past, of the classical scholars, like the likes of Ahmed, Ali ibn Madini, al-Bukhari, that they take this hadith to be daif. They rule this hadith to be daif. And some of them into the extent where they mentioned that nothing authentic on this topic. Nothing authentic of the narration on this topic. So the next of those matters to be discussed is regarding concern the ahkam that can be taken from this hadith. So the ahkam that can be taken from this particular hadith. So Shaykh that of the benefit that is mentioned, the hadith it mentioned, of the benefit that we wish to mention, that Shaykh Bassam, when he mentions hadith, we mention mufradat al-hadith. When he discussed concerning the wordings or the words clarifying certain wordings of the hadith, he mentioned mate. So I mentioned the word mate or mayta, mate or mayyit. So the word could be mate, which is takhfif, wal mayyit, meaning concerned that he mentioned that with tathqeel, more heavier pronunciation, that as for with a more heavier pronunciation, that that is regarding al-mayyit. So al-mayyit, that is regarding the person who is alive looking to pass away. And the one who have passed away is said to be mate. So the one who have died, already passed away, is referred to as mate. And the one who's alive but will eventually pass away is referred to, his process is referred to as mayyit. So that's concerning that the difference he mentioned regarding concerning this matter. So the one, then the one I mentioned regarding concern al-maut or mate is the one who passed away. Concern al-mate is in relation to mufariq ar-ruh lil-jasad. So mate, is the one who, as they would say, الروح, the soul, have left the body. The soul have left the body permanently in this dunya. So the one whose body, the soul have left the body, then the ruh, then that person said to be deceased. As we mentioned that فارق الروح للجسد أبدية في الدنيا, in the sense of the ruh at times may leave the jasad and then come back while a person is asleep. But a person still considered to be alive. He's still alive and still breathing. But when the ruh completely leaves the body, completely, then that person, he has passed away. That person is considered to be deceased. And so that's concerning of the benefit that he mentioned regarding this matter. So the next matter to be discussed regarding al-masail. So the masail of this particular hadith, then we'll try to mention around 4 to 5 main masail. So the first of those masail that is mentioned, that the ulama have clarified, like Ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, Sheikh Al-Fawzan, Hafidullah, and others that I've mentioned regarding from the hadith, it shows one, that this hadith, as the Prophet mentioned, Man ghasal al-mayt falyaqtasil, regarding concerning that al-mayt, the person who have passed away, the deceased, the dead person, then it's an obligation, it's fard, kifaya, for that person to be washed. So the one who have passed away from the Muslim, so the one who have passed, deceased, the Muslim, dead, they are to be washed, and that is a obligation upon those who are alive. It's an obligation upon a Muslim to ensure that person that they are washed, and so it is fard kifaya upon those who are alive to ensure that the deceased Muslim that is washed. They mention as for the mate, then this applies regarding this hadith regarding that as for this akam, the mate that is being discussed, whether that person that is passed away, whether he's being washed or be carried, whether it is a male or a female, then this ruling applies to them. Whether the person is a youngster or elder, then the ruling applies. So the ruling for any disease, then this ruling applies. Any disease, then this ruling applies. What I mentioned even in the sense that you have the entire body or you don't have the entire body or part of the body. So that the person is being washed and carried to be buried, then those should either wash, take ghusl, or take wudu accordingly. And we'll discuss that matter in detail. So as for the next matter of this hadith, is discussing matters pertaining to what act to be done regarding carrying of the deceased and washing them. So the mawdu of this hadith is in relation to of those things that nullify wudu is the person carrying the deceased. So that carrying of the deceased by way of the person who passed away, and you're carrying him by way of carrying that is on the wood and is being carried on the planks to his burial, or a person, so the person is holding something that is carrying the mate, for example a coffin, then that person is to take wudu. Or that person is carrying deceased, where the person now passed away and you're carrying the person's body. So you're carrying the person's body, then also this is the person now carrying that body that have deceased, then also they are to perform wudu according to this hadith. So that's concerning what is being discussed. And also the second thing is regarding al-ghusl, for the person who washed the deceased, the one who washes the deceased, and they have been instructed to perform al-ghusl. And that's the case, the person actually washed, the person is involved directly in washing the deceased body. So one who's washing the deceased body, then they are to perform ghusl according to this hadith. And what is taken from the hadith, what is apparent from the hadith. So as for now discussing these masail, as for the one who may be there in the washing, he's pouring the water, then this ruling does not apply to him or her. So one who's pouring the water on a deceased, while he's being washed, he's being touched by someone, then the ruling applies to the one who touches the body to wash it, not the one who just pouring the water on the deceased. As for the ahkam that can be taken from this hadith, the first is regarding of the first ahkam, was the hukum, the ruling of wudu that in carrying the deceased. Is one wudu nullified or not in carrying the deceased. On this matter, then the ulama that have a khilaf on this matter, or you have a discussion on this matter. So they mentioned that one, that it is stated by a majority of the ulama who take the position that the person hukum in wudu for carrying the deceased, that majority of the ulama, they take the position that regarding concerning this, it is not something to perform, it is not wajib, nor is it something which is mustahab. So majority of the ulama, they take the position that the person who have carried the deceased is not wajib, is not a must, nor it is mustahab for them to renew their wudu. And that's the position taken by majority of the ulama, except for Ibn Hazm, or what is mentioned by Ibn Hazm rahimahullah, that he takes the position it is yajib, as he mentioned, Ibn Hazm, that it is compulsory for a person to do so. So Ibn Hazm rahimahullah, that takes the view that it is compulsory for a person to do so. So that's concerning so majority of the ulama, and the majority take the position that is not. They mention that one, the hadith is daif on this matter, so there's nothing to say it is something which is wajib, no mustahab, because there's no clear ruling from the Sharia, as the hadith is weak and all this narration. Also they mention second, why they have taken this position is the hadith of Ibn Abbas in the Al-Bayhaqi wal Hakim, where the Prophet ﷺ has stated, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي غُسْلِ مَيْتِكُمْ غُسْلُ, that it's not upon you to perform ghusl for washing your mate. إِنَّهُ مُؤْمِن, because the deceased is a mu'min. Muslim tahir is Muslim, mu'min tahir. إِنَّمَا يَكْفِيكُمْ أَن تَغْتَسِلُوا أَيْدِيكُمْ, it is sufficient for you just to wash your hands. So from this they mentioned that this hadith, you have a discussion between the ulama on this particular hadith, of the ulama who authenticate the hadith, of them Ibn Taymiyyah, and others who, of them Al-Bayhaqi rahimahullah, or the hadith to be that it is not authentic marfu'an. So you have that discussion, and they mentioned that Abu Shayba, as we mentioned before, Abu Shayba, he went against others by mentioning hadith as going back to the Prophet ﷺ, while others all the hadith as being the statement of Ibn Abbas. So you have that discussion. So of those who authenticated, maintain that, take from the hadith that it is not compulsory for one to perform wudu or ghusl for carrying the mate, but it is sufficient for the person just to wash their hands. And also they mention the statement of Ibn Omar that they mention kunna naqtasil, kulma naqsil al-mayt, that we used to wash the deceased. فَمِنَّا, amongst us, man yaqtasil, from amongst us those who perform ghusl, وَمِنَّا man la yaqtasil, and from amongst us those who do not perform ghusl. So they mentioned that based upon this, it is not compulsory for one to make ghusl nor wudu for the one who carries the deceased. Then after ulama mentioned that, so of those who mentioned, but of those who mentioned that, and those who mentioned that if the hadith are authentic, then it's sufficient to say it is mustahab. If these hadith are authentic, then it is sufficient to say it is mustahab for one to act upon for regarding one renewing one's wudu. Those who mentioned that if the person will do so out of tajdeed al-wudu, so not out of istihbab, no out of wujub, that they are renewing their wudu, but by just renewing so out of ihtiyat or out of tajdeed al-wudu. So that's concerning the first matter, regarding that majority of the ulama that who take the position, as some mention, none have said it is some that that majority hold that it is not compulsory, and even they will mention it is not even mustahab for one to perform wudu after carrying the deceased. So in carrying the deceased by way of the coffin, or carrying him on the planks to take him for his burial, or a person may be carrying a body, holding the body directly of the deceased, then the person who does so does not need to renew their, it is not compulsory, nor mustahab for them to perform al-wudu. So that's concerning the first mas'ala. The next of those masail that are discussed, hukum al-wudu man ghasal al-mayt. What's the ruling in performing wudu for the one who have washed the body? So the one who have washed, the one who participated, carried out, washing of the deceased, the body, the dead person's body, is it upon them? What's the ruling regarding them performing al-wudu? Them performing wudu. On this you have aqwal of the ulama. The first opinion, la yajib. It is not compulsory for those who washed the body for them to perform wudu. It is not compulsory. And that's called jumhur of the ulama. And amongst those who take this position, that is not compulsory for one to perform wudu, and it does not nullify one wudu in carrying the deceased nor washing deceased, that in this case of the wudu is not compulsory to renew one's wudu. Of them who take the position, Abu Hanifa, Malik, Shafi'i, and also a riwayah and Imam Ahmed. And also is the position taken by Ibn Taymiyyah, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. And all those who I mentioned is the view taken by Abdullah ibn Umar and also Ibn Mas'ud. Among the Sahaba, Abdullah ibn Umar and Ibn Mas'ud. So their position is that it's not compulsory for one to perform wudu after washing ghusl al-mayd, after washing the deceased. And I mentioned the evidence that there's no authentic hadith on this matter. There's no authentic hadith. So this matter requires, if one to perform wudu for washing the maid, then a person need a sound text, need a sound, reliable text. The second position is a narration on Imam Ahmed rahimahullah that he mentioned أنه يجب على من غسل الميت الوضوء, that it is compulsory. Ahmed rahimahullah, in one of the narration upon him, take the position that it is compulsory for a person who have washed the deceased that they must perform wudu. They must perform wudu. And they said that their reason for this is that all the hadith is daif. As Ahmed, that's his position, all the hadith on this matter is daif. But I mentioned that the reason for this, their reason for justifying that it's compulsory to perform wudu for the one who washed the deceased, for washing the deceased, they mentioned that a possibility, yumkin, and yamas farj al-mayt, that it is possible for a person to touch the private parts of the deceased. So they said, based upon this, touching the private parts of the deceased, that nullifies one wudu. So in this case, if the person who's washing the deceased touches the private parts of the deceased, then they need to, it's a must upon them to perform wudu. So I said, no, in that case, that in, so I said, no, so I put a condition that in touching the private part, the person did not, then there's no wudu upon them, according to this view. Then so that's concerning those two aqwal regarding this matter. قول الجمهور, that لا يجب, then that's the more correct view. That's the more correct view taken by Jumhur of the ulama. The third masala regarding this matter, the third matter is the matter concerning al-hukum, ghusl, man ghasal al-mayd. The ruling pertaining, the ruling for the one who have washed the deceased, do they need to perform ghusl? So the one who did the washing directly or participating in touching and washing the body of the deceased, do they need to perform ghusl? As the part of the hadith mentioned, that it mentioned, man ghassal al-mayt falyaghtasil, that the one who washes the deceased, then they should perform ghusl. On this matter also, that they mentioned that aqwal between the ulama. So of those ulama who mentioned that anna al-ghusl, that is upon the one who washed the maid for them to perform, it is ghusl for them is sunnah mu'akkada. So the one who did the washing of the deceased, the dead person, for them to perform ghusl, it is highly recommended sunnah mu'akkada. That's the position that they have taken. Of those who are of this view, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, and Ahmed bin Hanbal. So three of the Imam al-Arba, Malik, Shafi, Ahmed, that they take the position that the one who washed the deceased, then it is highly recommended that they perform ghusl. The second opinion on this matter, that washing the deceased, it is a sunnah for the person who did so to take a wash. So the person who did the washing of the deceased, it's a sunnah for them to wash, to take a ghusl. And that's the position taken by Abu Hanifa and الرواية عن أحمد عن قول أحمد عن قول أحمد. And they mentioned that, so the discussion go regarding that, the hadith in this chapter is somewhat weak. The hadith in this matter is somewhat weak, but those who say it is a must, then they said that based upon the hadith of the chapter, those say it is mustahab, that they mentioned that based upon the hadith that is mentioned in this, on this matter, based upon Bab Ihtiyat. The Sheikh Abdullah Fawzan, he mentioned that one of the ulama was Ibn Mufli al-Hanbali, so Allama Ibn Mufli al-Hanbali rahimahullah, that he mentioned a qa'idah, that he mentioned a principle, where he mentioned in al-hadith إذا كان فيه ضعف, that if the hadith and there's weakness in the hadith is weak, وكان دالا على وجوب بصيغته, and the hadith that is weak, but by its wording, by the sentence, by the wording of the hadith, it implies that something is wajib. So the wording of hadith, what can be taken from it is that act, something is wajib to be performed, but hadith is weak. Or the hadith that is weak, from what can be taken from its meaning, is that is saying something is haram to be done. It's saying something is instructing that something, that this thing is not to be done because it is haram. That I mention, أو دالا على تحريم فإنه يحمل على استهباب في الأمر وعلى كراهة في نهي احتياطا. So he mentioned that based upon this, the rule that he mentioned, if there's a weak hadith, such as a hadith that we have that we're discussing, and it's given instruction, a command to do something, but the hadith is weak, then that hadith, what can be taken by way of taking a safe route, ihtiyatan, is for the person to see it as something which is mustahab or sunnah, but not wajib. Or if there's something which is haram, the hadith that is weak is saying that it is haram to do something that is haram, then a person avoid that thing by way of karaha. So hopefully that is understood. Hopefully that is understood, that principle. So based upon those who say that taking a ghusl it is a sunnah, then because the hadith is weak, then they use of this principle. This principle can be applied. This principle that is mentioned by Ibn Mufli can be applied in their case. So those are concerning what have been mentioned on this matter regarding concerning this particular hadith of the ulama who all concern the person that, as mentioned, that the person is sufficient for the person just to wash their hands. So they take concern of the meaning linguistically, that if the person carrying or that they have washed a deceased, then also the person was to wash their hand, then there's no problem. Then that's also allowed. Then I mentioned regarding concern the reason why this is the case, what's the hikmah, is because of najas, why washing, taking ghusl, that a person that is doing the washing, that things may splash back onto them from the deceased that is impure, why they're being instructed to take a full bath. So you have that discussion as to the reason, is it a which is something ma'qul al-mana, regarding the hikmah, or it is something which is ta'abudiyya, or something which is just a religious instruction. Then you have that discussion between the ulama, but overall, that they mention regarding concerning that why is the reason, a discussion between the ulama, but overall regarding concerning these ruling, as we have stated, that in summary, that the hadith, it is daif, and all its other narration is weak. Yes, you find of the A'immat al-Kibar, those all hadith to be daif. Al-Bukhari, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Ali ibn Madini, Al-Dhuhali, Ibn Munzir, Bayhaqi, and the likes, even of An-Nawawi. But then also find a group of the ulama who all this hadith of Abu Hurairah to be daif. And amongst those we have concerning that At-Tirmidhi, we have also Al-Baghawi, Ibn Hazm, Ibn Hibban, Al-Dhahabi, Ibn Malakkin, Ibn Daqiq al-Eid, Al-Albani, and others, Ibn Hajar, who all believed to be authentic based upon its various narrations, and also Shawahid al-Mutaba'at. But so you have that between the ulama. As for now, what can be taken from hadith, as we have discussed, that with this matter regarding of those who hold that none of these things apply regarding the decease of carrying decease. You need to perform wudu or ghusl. Or if you wash the deceased, do you need to perform wudu or ghusl? Then I mentioned of some or all that these things does not apply based upon hadith being weak. So overall, that's concerning the discussion that we have mentioned regarding this particular chapter or this particular matter, which is, does carrying the deceased and washing the deceased, does it nullify one wudu? Overall, from the hadith that is mentioned, it is weak. Allahu alam, that is more that hadith is weak. So this ruling does not apply. The person wants to do so, min bab al-ihtiyat. If the person wants to do so, min bab al-ihtiyat, but the hadith is weak, and based upon this, the person does not need to do so. If you do so, la bas. But if the person does not do so, then la haraj. Then the person, then there's nothing upon the person. So that inshallah ta'ala we have now ended this hadith, and we'll continue discussing other hadith relating to Bab al-Nawaqil al-Wudu, as stated by Ibn Hajar rahimullah, regarding these hadith that he have mentioned in relation to things that nullifies one wudu. This is the 10th of those hadith that he have mentioned regarding this matter. So with this inshallah ta'ala we'll end discussion. والآخر الحمد لله سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت وأستغفرك وأتوب إليك. With that inshallah ta'ala we'll end. وبالله تعالى توفيق. Okay.